What's up, everyone? Merry Christmas. As you can see, I have my leg lamp sweater on because it's Christmas time, and it's definitely my daughter's saying Merry Christmas to everyone. And it's definitely Christmas time in the studio because our Frozen Transform printer came in finally, that me and my buddy Floyd went on together from Kickstarter. So we finally got our printer. The printer came yesterday, actually, and then the other box came today. The printer came via UPS, and all the peripherals came via FedEx. Not sure why they did that. Maybe better shipping rates through UPS. But me and Floyd, I called Floyd when this was on Kickstarter. I was like, hey, you want to go in on a 3D printer together? I'll learn it and all that stuff. Now we have access to one, and we can print our own stuff, maybe print stuff for other people, and maybe produce some stuff. So this is the very first step in this whole process. I've never owned a 3D printer. I've never done any of that before, so I've got a lot of learnings to do. I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of asking questions and stuff. Same way I learned how to paint and everything. I just ask questions and, ask the people who've been doing this for a long time. And so this is brand new for me. So I'm really excited to unbox this and take a look at it. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I've heard some people had some issues with it, but I think with anything else, it's just a learning curve and learning what works and what doesn't work. So, and everyone's like, you should start with a smaller printer. It's like, yeah, but then eventually I just have to get another big one to print the stuff I want. So I'd rather just kind of skip that and go for the big guy. So we ordered this the very last day the Kickstarter program was going on. Actually, like the last few hours. So the price on this shipped was $1,700, I think it was, or was it $1,500? I think me and Floyd each paid like $750. So the price is very good for the printer. The print volume is huge. It's actually one of the largest that's available at a reasonable price right now. I don't have it on the top of my head, but hopefully inside it'll tell us all that information. I can kind of tell you what I remember. But so let's unbox this sucker. So it came with packing straps around the box, which I didn't realize actually held the box together because I went to go lift it up on the table and the top came off. But I have not opened this yet. So everything I've seen has been packed really well. The box has no damage. So UPS didn't drop it or anything. So you unwrap that, and it's covered in, looks about in a layer of like about a 1 inch and a half white foam all the way around the printer. I'll just slide that off, and then there it is. You're looking at the back side of it right now, so let me turn it around, get this stuff out of the way, and here it is. So one thing about the Kickstarter printers is that it comes in a gray color rather than black. It's kind of like if you have a gray version, then you got it during the Kickstarter program. We were backers number 440 out of, I think, 550 backers. So we were towards the very end. And I know these have been shipping for a while. And actually, I think they tried to ship this back to me in October, and they tried to email me, but my mailbox was full, so I didn't realize that. And so I contacted them, like, hey, I'm just wondering what the status of our printers. Like, well, we tried to email you, but your email is full. So once I did on my email, they said you'll have it within 2 weeks, and it was about exactly 2 weeks ago that they told me I'd have it. So here it is. Let's get the bottom off. As you can see, it's a good size. The bottom of the box had nice foam packaging on it. So from what I can tell right now, there's nothing wrong with it. It looks physically perfect. Cut off the plastic wrap. The saran wrap around it. So from what I've seen, once you get this up and running and you figure it out, the print quality is very good. There's a YouTuber, Uncle Jessie, that I just started following not too long ago, who got one of the very first ones of these to kind of do an initial run at, and he seemed very pleased with it. There's another YouTuber I found, actually one of the first ones to receive this printer, and he's had some issues getting prints. So again, I'm not sure what's going on there. I think I'm not sure what, I know Uncle Jesse said a lot of times when he has failed prints it's because of user error. So I don't know. It's like I said, this is completely new to me. So I'm gonna learn a new. This table looks wobbly, but it's actually very sturdy, so don't worry. I photograph all my large statues on this sucker, so I know it'll hold the weight of this. I guess I'm not sure what the piece of tape on there's for. I'd say it weighs probably 50 pounds. It's not crazy heavy, but it's not light. I do like the gray color, it's kind of nice. Okay, there we go. All right, so there it is. Let's get this box out of the way. This is gonna be the resin. Actually, let's get it all open. Let's get it all on the table. There's the printer. So if we turn it around, let me get a turntable. No, I don't think a turntable works. It's got feet on it around the corners. Here's the display panel, the touchpad. You have to install the handles. Here's the inside of the printer. We got the single screen. So the one cool thing about this printer is that they give you two options. You could get a single LCD, which is the one we got, or you could get two LCD screens. So this is a DLP, digital light projector printer. It's a little different than an SLA, which is stereo lithographic something or other. I'm not sure the acronym. So the way this works is it has a 4K LCD screen in the bottom, and it projects each layer all at the same time to cure the resin, which uses a UV curing light resin, similar to like SLA, but instead of using a laser, it uses UV light. Printers like the form printers and stuff like that, they use a laser, and it draws each layer. This projects each layer at a time, so print times are usually faster than an SLA. As far as print quality, from what I've seen, this is on par with a form printer. And again, I think it's all about tweaking and getting everything dialed in. But you can see that this print volume is huge. Here's the build the Z-axis right here is a solid piece of steel, corkscrew. So this is off the top of my head. The rough print volume is 15 and a half inches tall on the Z-axis. And then you have 11 and a half inches wide by 5.5 inches deep. So absolutely huge print volume. So to give you a sense of that, let's use, just for the kicks, I've got the Gravin Labs Captain America right here. I've got a bunch of stuff around. But technically, I could print this whole torso on this printer and then some, if I wanted to. What else could I print on this? I could print, again, using the Gravin Labs Captain America, I could print one leg, possibly both legs at the same time, or individually. So it's a huge print volume. Just really, really impressive. So that's the main reason when I kind of saw this like, for about a year or two, I've been looking at possibly getting into 3D printing, but they're all too small. They're great for minis and little things like that, but if you want to do 6 scale, definitely quarter scale stuff, you need a big print volume. Otherwise, you're breaking up into a bunch of pieces, having to seam it all together and do all that stuff. So this allows you to print bigger pieces in a fewer number of prints. On this side, we have 2 fans. Now I've heard that this is kind of loud. Don't know about that yet. So 2 fans on that side. On the back side, we have the power switch, the cord for the power cord. We have 2 USB ports. There's an SD slot. There's actually a micro SD card in there already, which I'm guessing has some test prints on it. Ethernet cable. And then on the other side, we have a single fan, and then the front again. So there we go. So this is just an initial unboxing and kind of once around of the printer and what you get. So put that to the side. I'll just give you some dimensions on the actual printer. So the printer itself is right at 26 and a half inches tall. It's 13 and a half inches deep and about 15 and a half inches wide. So it's tall. I'm actually gonna have to rearrange my studio here a little bit to have a place for this. And I'll probably have to build an enclosure for it to kind of help take care of some of the fumes. Because I know printing with resin, if you know resin, it's kind of stinky. So I'm gonna come in a little bit so we can see what's in the other box. Awesome camera work as usual. Okay, so here's what came in the FedEx box today. This will be the build platform. This will be the resin. On the very top here we have a MSD sheet, material safety data sheet, because this has resin in it and they want to tell you that this stuff causes cancer and all that nasty fun stuff. Yeah, so that's what these are, just for the resin. Material safety data sheets. There's 2 of them in there, maybe because I think, oh, okay. This box is actually pretty heavy too. So Floyd's been chomping at the bit. He's already sent me one file that he's purchased to print. Like, I've got to get the printer, and I got to learn how to use it. So I've got to do some reorganization in my studio big time before I even start to really play with this. Got to get set up. Okay. So this packaging isn't as fancy as this is. Some of the other printers you kind of get a nice foam insert. Here's the build platform. Is there anything in here? This may just be padding. Okay, that's just some padding. Okay, so you get an extra, I'm going to say this wrong, FEP sheet. I think that's what it's called. But I'll show you inside the printer if you're not familiar. But in the resin vat, there's a clear piece of plastic, which is basically the bottom of your resin vat. And these sheets are a consumable. You have to change them every once in a while. I don't think they're terribly expensive, but as part of the Kickstarter, they reached a couple of their stretch goals, and they included, I'm not sure there's 1 or 2 in here. Got a little Frozen package. The big thing about the Kickstarter is the resin. They give you a good amount of resin. There's a lot in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 bottles of resin. So that is a huge bonus for doing the Kickstarter, is they give you a good amount of resin. Now, from the videos that I've seen, this resin vat will hold 1 entire bottle of resin. I'm not sure how much of a print, depending on what you're printing, will determine how much resin it takes per print. And I have to remember, I'll unwrap these, because I think we get 2 types. I think we get the normal gray, and I think as part of one of the Kickstarter stretch goals, they included some flesh colored resin, if I remember correctly. So this first bottle is frozen resin. This is matte gray, and this is a gives you kind of some initial settings for your resolution. It's saying use a 0.03 to 0.05 millimeter layer height. Tells you the resins it can use, or the resin printers it's meant for. And this is, doesn't tell you how much the bottle is. Is it 1,000 milliliters? 500 grams. So I'm not sure how much that is. We're in the US here. We don't use the metric system. I'm not sure how many ounces that is. I think we get mostly gray, but I want to say that they included some flesh color too, which is a slightly more expensive resin. Gray. And to be honest, for my initial thought, I'm not sure what Floyd has in mind, but gray is fine for what I have in mind for this thing, because even though it's a resin printer, you know, you still have to do some post-processing on your prints. It's not like you can print, in my opinion, that I've seen, this could be completely wrong, depending on the printer and stuff. I don't think you're gonna print a piece in like flesh colored resin and go to paint it right afterwards. The advantage of using flesh colored resin or a translucent resin is you kind of get that natural fleshy look in the surface. That's the advantage to using that type of resin. That's why some casters will cast pieces in a translucent flesh resin, because when I have a few kits that are casted like that, because you can use that to your advantage when painting. You can make it look really, really nice and really fleshy. This is all the same, matte gray. So this is cool. This is like Christmas morning right here. I didn't remember getting this much resin, 12 bottles. I thought we were getting like 5 or 6. So they must have reached another stretch goal that I wasn't aware of. So, and this is the first Kickstarter I've ever been involved in. More gray. And it was delayed. Initially, I think they were supposed to start shipping back in like July. I gotta tell you that as far as my first experience as a Kickstarter, it was a really positive experience. Phrozen was very good at keeping people update via the Kickstarter Q&A section. If someone had a question, they answered it pretty damn quick. When I emailed them about getting this printer, I had a response really quick. I initially contacted them on Facebook, through their page, through PM. That took a little bit longer than email. I prefer PM just because I'm on Facebook all the time and I don't check my email that often. But they were very quick to respond. So far, I'm very happy with, this is all gray. I thought we had a different color. If it's all gray, I don't care, it's no big deal. But so far, it's been a really positive experience. So if they were anticipating a delay for whatever reason, they would post that in the group. You know, part of it was in the initial production, they were running into some issues, so they stopped production for a little while to resolve those. And then when I received the email saying it would be about 2 weeks, they had mentioned there's a shortage of parts. I mentioned that to Floyd, like, oh, I'm surprised there's a shortage of parts. Well, there may be some, my guess is that maybe there's some custom parts for this particular printer, so they had to, you know, they ran out, they had to have them made. That's just my guess, not sure. I'm not sure how much of this is stuff. This is all gray. It's a lot of resin. So yeah, I wasn't sure what the delay, what that meant as far as parts shortage was. So talking about, again, this is how my mind works, is all over the place. Consumables. So when you're dealing with, and this is all from me being a noob, but this is just from all the information I've read and learned from other videos. You have consumables when, just like any other process, things that you have to replace. The main one is resin, so it's considered a consumable. The other one is that plastic sheet I mentioned, and the other main consumable in this printer is the LCD screen. I'm not sure how many hours it's rated for. I've heard anywhere from 200 to 500 hours of print time before you have to replace it. Yeah, I guess we just got all gray. I thought we had a different color. I may ask him about that. I thought we were supposed to get, again, not that I really care, but I thought they were supposed to include like 1 or 2 bottles of flesh colored, just to try it out. Okay, it's all matte gray, whatever. All right, so that's all the resin, 12 bottles, pretty cool. Here is the build platform. It's absolutely huge. I'm not going to put it in the printer yet because I want to go through. They did send me, when they sent me the shipment notification, they sent me some PDFs on instructions for setup. I gotta say, from the initial view, the instructions could use improvement, especially for someone like me who's never done this before. But I'm guessing that they're gearing this towards someone who's had a little more experience. That's huge. I mean, look at the size of that. So don't even worry about like the dimensions lengthwise and widthwise. Almost 16 inches tall you can print with this sucker. So absolutely huge print volume. So really, really impressive. So there's that sheet. And then here, I think they give you some little tools. Yeah, you get, here's the, they give you Ethernet cord. You get, here are the handles. They give you some gloves to start off with. You get a metal spatula for scraping your prints off the print bed. You get a plastic spatula. You get, oh, here's another little cover. There's a magnetic cover on the inside, so I'm not sure what that covers it. You get a funnel, and then this looks like a storage case for the little USB, little thumb drive. That's kind of cool to include that. So you can upload to this wirelessly through Wi-Fi. I probably won't do that. I'll probably just use the plug and play SD card or that, and then the power cord. So that's everything you get with the Kickstarter, at least my level of Kickstarter. I think we all get the same thing. So pretty cool. So 12 bottles of resin. You get obviously the build platform, some gloves. I don't want to take this out because I don't want to damage it. This needs to stay as clean as possible. But there you go. So you get the printer, all that resin, build platform, cords, gloves, all that fun stuff. So pretty cool. So yeah, so like I said, my next step here is I've got to reorganize and find a place for it. I thought about putting it on the floor, but I think getting to the prints out would be hard. So my initial thought is to utilize, I have to talk to my wife about this. I have this space right here that's right next to my paint booth. That dresser, I'm thinking I want to get rid of that and build an enclosure for this so I can just have a place to store everything. Or I have this area over here. I actually can't, I have another area to the left here, but I can't pan over there because I have a project that no one is supposed to see right now because it's proprietary. Actually, you're not supposed to see that. Hopefully you didn't see it. I have a statue that I'm working on that's a licensed piece that I'm not allowed to show anyone. But I've got the space underneath here. I could put it, but my initial thoughts is to clear space on this countertop here and put it there and build some storage underneath. But I have room for it. It's got to be reorganized. So got some ideas. But so there you go. There's my unboxing of the Phrozen Transform printer. I got this directly from Phrozen through the Kickstarter. It is available through some other retailers. I'm not going to put any links down below because I've never bought from them, so I don't want to recommend someone that I'm not familiar with. But just do a Google search on Phrozen Transform. They're almost done shipping all the Kickstarter printers, which means they'll start shipping additional ones shortly after that. So I think their goal was to have all the Kickstarters shipped by the end of December, which if we're number 440 at like a 550, they're pretty close to being done shipping all the Kickstarters. So I would say maybe in another 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, they'll start doing production pieces and shipping those out to other buyers. But pretty excited to get this up and running and start learning how to use this. So from what everyone has been telling me, start small. Like, don't try to print a big piece at first, obviously, because a print could take 30 or 40 hours depending on how big it is. So I'm gonna I think it has some test print files on the SD card already. I'll probably go to like the Thingiverse and download some free files and do some testing there. I've got the file that Floyd sent me to play with. But again, it's really just from what I learned, it's all about orientation, exposure times. You can adjust the exposure time depending on the resin. There is another resin I want to try that I've been hearing about. It's a quick cure resin where it's just a shorter exposure time. So the prints will take a shorter amount of time, but super excited to learn this process and print some stuff, and something I've been looking at for a couple of years now. And thanks to Floyd, we now have a printer that we can do stuff with. So thanks for watching as always. Everyone have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. I know this Hanukkah's already gone, but however you celebrate the holidays, hope you have a good time and enjoy it. And as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And stay tuned for some big things coming out of this guy in the near future, I hope. As always, thanks for watching. It's Matt Rosick. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.